to a Transformed Life podcast. I am so thrilled that you are joining me today for this very fun episode. I was thinking about the last two episodes of 2025, and I cannot believe we're at the end of another year. And here we are. And I kind of wanted this to be a reflection podcast, I guess similar to Spotify's year in review. I'm going to do it in my own unique twist. And before we dive into today's topic, I would invite you to support this show by leaving a 5-star review if you're on any of the podcast platforms. That really helps the reach of this podcast. So that way we can give healing and hope and health and transformation to as many souls that definitely need it. If you're watching this on YouTube, please subscribe. There are a number of views on these videos and not many subscribers. So please hit that subscribe button. It really helps the show and spread the word about the mission that we have here at Hope Rose to bring health, healing, and hope to every soul that desires it. Our world is ripe for healing. We have more destruction and animosity and death than ever before, particularly in the sector that I have very close ties with, and that is domestic violence and surviving a intimate partner relationship, intimate partner violence. And I speak very candidly on that on all of my platforms. And, it continues to this day. And I don't let it derail me because I know that my mission is bigger than those that try to stop my voice from being heard. And it is simply an invitation to all of us that healing is there, and people's egos and constructs really get in the way of humanity. And while some people are very focused at destroying others' lives, I am focused on building people up by bringing power back to women, really helping them tap into their women. And I really do hope in my lifetime that we can bring the number from 3.4 women a day are killed by former or current intimate partners, male. I really want to see that number to 0. There is no reason why these men are killing women on a daily basis. And if they don't kill you physically, they attempt to kill you in other ways by trafficking, stealing your children if you're in family court, continuously stalking your presence, wanting to know every, detail about your life. It's all coercive control with threats and bullying. And so men, and I did a podcast on this last year, that less than 10% of men are involved in personal growth. And I truly believe that, when men finally step into personal growth, we will have a transformed world. John Wineland does incredible work. He has a goal of 10,000 men's groups, I believe, worldwide. And so he's a really good resource to tap into if you are a man listening to this, if you are a true man who really wants the best for his life and for all the lives that are around him, and especially for the mother of his, children. Do yourself a favor and get yourself into personal growth that is going to hold you accountable for your actions and really be that mirror that you have never had and that you have really weaponized against women and the mother of your children. So that is my PSA. So as we jump into today's topic, it's going to be, drum roll, 25 gifts 2025 gave me. And 2025 didn't just stretch me, it required me. It required me to stop asking for permission to take up space, to have needs, to stand firm in my standards that I've always had in my life and not be ashamed of them, to speak clearly and precisely with directiveness, to protect my time, my peace, and my energy, and most of all, to protect my nervous system. Because here's what I saw with so much clarity, that over time, every time I over-explained, I leaked power. I leaked my energy. I gave it away. No more. Every time I apologized for existing, I trained people to treat my presence like an inconvenience. That also stops. Every time I try to be nice instead of direct and clear, I handed the steering wheel to someone else. So this year, I made a very bold decision in my life. I am not performing for respect anymore. I am living from my standards that I've always had. I'm not arguing with people who benefit from my lack of boundaries. I'm not bargaining with urgency. I'm not managing other people's emotions about my limits. And the wild part is, the moment I stopped asking for permission, my life became quieter, cleaner, like internally, less noise, more truthful in what the truth is of how I live my life. The truth is that, I have a lot of internal power and a lot of energy and a lot of good that wants to come forth. So it's not necessarily easier, it's truth. It's the truth about who I am. And so today I'm sharing these 25 gifts 2025 gave me. And I hope that even one of these lands in your body like a deep exhale and really receive it. So, number one, I don't ask for permission to exist. And I talk a lot in my podcast and also on social media and maybe even in my newsletters, really about speech and your language. And I was really using the word sorry so much when I began this particular healing path that I have been on. And typically, females, women in general, use the word sorry way more, I think it's 9 out of 10 times, than men do. And it's a society, cultural conditioning, and it's a false conditioning. Women need to stop saying sorry. And every time that word is used, it is this undercurrent of apologizing for your existence. And I have now retrained myself to eliminate the word sorry from my vocabulary. And you will notice that the word sorry pops up in so many conversations that you have. You will hear it now that you are aware of it, you will see how often that word is used. The people that need to be using sorry typically are not saying it. So that is one of the gifts. I no longer ask for permission to exist. My existence matters. I am more than worthy of this life, and I'm living it wholeheartedly. Number two, my boundaries don't need a courtroom of approval. And this is really, tied into making a boundaries, and when people push back on them, feeling that I need to, explain. No, the boundary is there, and it's up to me to hold it. And I think a lot of people get boundaries confused, is that they make the boundary and then they wonder why other people are like encroaching on it. It's like, well, they're going to be testing you to see if you're going to hold true to that boundary or not. So it's your internal boundary. It could be external ones too, of like, this is my boundary and I don't need approval if this is right or wrong. I am going to live with this boundary because it is in the highest service for myself and for others. Clarity isn't aggression, it's leadership. And clarity comes from action. We can't have clarity. I can't have clarity unless I do something. And so a lot of people have that backwards of like, I really want clarity. You become clear when you continue to take the right aligned action over the course of time. And that's how you become clear on whatever it is that you are seeking. And so for me, a lot of clarity came through, observing other people, how I was operating in life. And it came through self-leadership. And I talk a lot about self-leadership because that's really where leadership really begins. You have to lead yourself well in order to lead others well. Number 4, I can be kind and immovable at the same time. This kind of goes into people pleasing. I can have a firm boundary. I don't have to apologize. I can be kind, and I stand my truth. I stand with what I know of, and I will not be bullied or coerced into what someone else thinks I should do. Number 5, over-explaining is a nervous habit and not a requirement. So over-explaining could also be looping, of saying like the same thing in different ways. And this is a trauma response. And so I've really been working on that this year, of like this gift that was given to me is like, oh, over-explaining and looping is a trauma response. I can say it once and be clean and clear and concise and move forward. So that was a big one. Number 6, if I'm negotiating my worth, I'm already off center. If I have to justify, it could be, for some people it's like justifying their prices or justifying why you have that standard. Just over explaining why you are doing something. It's kind of in the defense realm. If you are defending something instead of being in the offense, then you are already off center. And so it's a really great thing to come back to center of like, yeah, this is my truth and I'm sticking to it. I'm not negotiating my worth. This is what I am worth. And it's not necessarily the monetary value that I'm speaking here. It is your intrinsic value that you were born with, that you are a worthy, lovable human. And so if you have found yourself negotiating with your worth, then I would encourage you to examine that and see how you can bring your power back into yourself. Number 7, an apology is for harm, not for taking up space. And this kind of goes back to, I don't ask for permission to exist. So if you truly have done something that truly harmed another person, this could get a little dicey with domestic violence, male partners, where they like to weaponize, oh, you did cause me harm. They are typically gaslighting you and wanting to shift their egregious behavior onto you. So if you truly have done, if it's truly you've done something to harm someone else, steal their child, just make life really difficult for them, that is an indication of that you're harming someone. And so most people are going around apologizing, saying sorry for things that they haven't even done. Like, oh, stubbing your toe. Oh, I'm so sorry. Well, you just stubbed your toe. You didn't do anything wrong. And this is mainly for the women out there. You don't have to apologize for taking up space. And I really want so many women and mothers especially to realize that you are so valuable. I see you, and I know the world views mothers and women in a very different light. And I hope with my voice out there that we will be able to change this, that women and mothers particularly are sacred and require to be respected in all of their ways. They are the only human that can bring life into this world. Fathers can't do that, only mothers. And they have the ability to not only grow human life, but they also give birth to that human life and to nourish it. And it's a really sacred human biology that the world has to take a much better stance and care over women and children. Number 8, I can decline without defending. And this is, again, really clear, like with the work I do in guiding other people, is being very clear. No is a complete sentence. No, no, thank you. I'm not available for that. And you move on. And because I've been in abusive situations with, my previous romantic partner, he was, great at doing this, of really making myself defend my no. And anytime a person does that, you know that they are typically of an abusive nature. If they keep on edging you on and inviting you to arguments, they are only inviting that because they have very unhealed wounds. They know that they are abusive. So abuse, I will caveat for the episode for a little bit, but abuse doesn't come from mental health issues. Abuse is simply kind of part of their wiring that they have not given a chance to rewire. Excuse me. And so you can say no without defending. And if you're in an abusive situation, if they don't take your no for straight up and move on, then you know that you are in a potentially harmful situation. And I really consider for you to seek help and resources in moving yourself to safety, mind, body, spirit. Number 9, a request is not a command. And so really making your request as, this is what I am doing, and it comes from a place of power, and it can really transform your life. Number 10, urgency is often someone else's tactic. So if someone is pressuring you, I need to answer, by the end of, in an hour or something else, that again that is someone else. I will respond within 24 hours. I will respond within 5 business days. Especially if you're dealing with CPTSD, PTSD, anxiety, really set clear boundaries on if you have people in your life that are, urging you, coercing you to do something very quickly. Pause, time out. Number 11, I don't perform calm for people who refuse to be respectful. And there's quite a few people in my life that I have to engage with, and they are not respectful. They are very antagonistic. They are rude, and I don't allow them to steal my energy. They are not going to take my power. I can still remain clear and calm inside me. And that is a really powerful practice to begin to integrate into your life. Number 12, no is a complete sentence, and so is silence. Silence is also, and I've learned this recently from some people I've interacted with, silence is a response. So you don't always have to respond. If you do, no is a complete sentence, and it can be really powerful. Number 13, my peace is not up for group discussion. So my peace is subject to me, and no matter what awful things are going around me, no matter, who is, stalking me, who is inciting violence, attempting to incite violence into my life, that is on them, and they will be held accountable for that. My responsibility is, how do I respond to this? How can I keep my power? Because they don't get a seat. They don't get the driver's seat in my life. I do. They don't even get to belong in the passenger seat. They are little minions who are simply there to say, oh, you know what? I am going to keep my power. And you are not allowed to have any authority in my life. An authority being, you don't get to run my life. This is my life. You're in charge of your life. I'm in charge of my life. And they are not in the driver's seat of your life. You are. You're a full, sovereign, autonomy-driven person. Number 14, I don't chase understanding, I choose alignment. This is a really big one. Keep coming back to alignment. And if you try to understand every single thing, you will drive yourself crazy. I will drive myself crazy. We can't understand why people abuse other people, why people are so hell-bent on destroying other people's lives. I don't have the answers to that. I do know that when I'm aligned with my power and my vision and mission for life, that is where my path lies. Not with someone else, not with trying to understand how can they be so cruel. My understanding is I always choose alignment for myself and keeping focused on the mission and vision at hand. Number 15, boundaries reveal who benefits from my lack of them. I had a really interesting interaction earlier this year with someone that I was guiding, and they did not like the boundary I had put into place, and they really pushed up against it. And I was already feeling that undercurrent of being taken for granted, and this person proved me right. As soon as I set that boundary, it was so fascinating how they reacted. They did not respond. They reacted in really childish ways. And so it was such a clear confirmation to me that I was really tracking the energetics with this particular situation. And I was holding firm to that boundary, and they did not like that. And it could have benefited them from saying, oh, you know what? I'm seeing this. How can I realign my life so I'm not doing that? Instead, they took a very complete opposite approach, and they will continue on with that until they wake up and smell the roses, so to speak. 16, I'm allowed to be firm without being cold. So this one is definitely a big gift for me in 2025. I can be very firm of like, this is the path I'm taking. This is the direction. This is what I require in my life. This is how I'm moving forward, and still being pleasant about it with very firm boundaries. And you don't have to be cold. I don't have to be cold. It is simply how you deliver it, and really the intent, the energetics behind that request or that ask. Number 17, power returns the moment I stop bargaining with discomfort. And this is a big one. So when I'm feeling, discomfort, I would say maybe not necessarily triggered, but that could be another word for it. Triggered, upset, discomfort, agitated. The moment I have awareness of like, oh, they are trying to take my power, I'm not going to let them. It's up to me to give it to them. They want to steal it, and I'm not going to allow it. So I really pull that power back into myself of like, okay, how can I respond? Do I need to shake out my body? Do I need to do some nervous system breathing work? Do I need to do my jigsaw puzzle? Do I need to, take a drink? Hydration with trace minerals. Do I need protein, quality protein? So those are all ways you can kind of, come back into your body, take your power back, and keep your power to yourself. It's not for sale. Not everyone deserves access to me. Number 18. And not everyone gets a front row seat to my life. Very few people know the ins and outs and what I'm dealing with on a daily basis. And that is very sacred space. And I hold it extremely high. I have a public life and I have a private life. And many people might think they know about me, in public, and they really don't, because not everyone deserves or requires access to me, because either if they previously have known me, they no longer get that access because they are not safe people. Number 19, I can be misunderstood and still be correct. I can still be right. So when someone misunderstands or doesn't take the time to actually see the truth behind what I'm presenting, or maybe someone else is presenting, that doesn't say anything about my worth or my existence. It simply says something about them. It's telling of them. And I can agree to disagree and know that my power lies within me and how I am responding to that. Number 20, my standards protect my future self. I am so grateful that I have had amazing standards for my life since I can remember, of how I take care of my body. I choose not to drink alcohol. I choose quality sleep. I choose not to watch TV and others, streaming platforms. I'm very conscientious of how I live my life in mind, body, spirit. And it has served me well, in the highest service of all, for sure. And so that gift really confirmed to me this year in so many ways. #21, I don't manage other people's emotions about my limits. So if someone is freaking out, and they're having an emotional moment, that doesn't say anything about me. It says something about them, and I can certainly guide them to a place of regulation and peace and harmony. And at the same time, these are my limits and these are my boundaries. This is what I require for respect. And if I cannot be met with that, then you no longer get a seat at my sacred table. I don't hope for respect. I require it. I require respect no matter what. And that comes from, it starts internally first. When I internally require respect for myself, it shows up in the energetics. It shows up in that outer 3D world reality. And so that is extremely helpful. Number 23, when I self-abandon, my body alerts me immediately. This is a big one of really being aware of what's going on in my body, of how I respond to certain things. It might show up in my dreams. It might show up in my sleep. And I've really made it a very daily practice to come back into my body, because I have experienced so much violence, and it's continuing, abuse. It's still continuing with the father of my child. I really have to pay close attention to staying in my body and doing simple daily practices for that, so my body feels that we are safe. There's no tiger coming to get us. And, being very mindful of how I conduct myself in public, because the danger, and there is a very real threat that something could egregious happen. And, like I said before, 3.4 women a day are killed by former or current intimate partners. And so while I live with that reality, I also live with the reality that I'm going to serve as many people as I can before my life transitions. And none of us know that day. And I'm going to make the most of my life in an aligned, give back, service focused first, how I've always lived my life. And that is such a powerful way to live. Instead of being afraid of things he could do, things the system could do, etc., I choose to live my life always in service of others. And, the monetary might not be there. And yet I am richly blessed with peace, with great supportive friends, with systems that regulate my body. I am happy. I am joyful. They can't take that from me. And that's really what they want to take from you. They want to take that joy and that light and that love. And that is for me to shine into the world. And when my light shines on to other people's darkness, it will be revealed. Number 24, the more I honor myself, the less I explain myself. And this is a simple bullet point. It kind of goes back to, the ones we were talking about previously. When I honor myself, it simply is. I don't have to prove. I don't have to defend. I don't have to explain. I don't have to justify. I simply honor and respect myself. And when I do that, the world shows up around me for that as well. Number 25, I am not too much. I'm just unavailable for less. That's what one of my coaches always kind of told me. It was like, if you think you're too much, go, if somebody thinks you are too much, go tell them to find less. If you want a dull person, I am not that person. I am full of life, full of huge dreams and visions that God has given me. And so I am not ashamed of that. I am unavailable for less because I couldn't even be less if I tried, because that is not how God, the creator, source, made me. So I hope you had fun with hearing or watching this episode. If you needed a sign to stop apologizing for your existence, let this be it, especially if you're a woman. You are allowed to be clear. You are allowed to be firm. You are allowed to protect your time, your peace, your energy, and your future. So pick one gift from this list and practice it for 7 days. Not for perfection, but just consistently. Where can you take one of these gifts and apply it to your life? And watch what changes when you stop explaining and start living like your boundaries are real, because they are. And boundaries, I need to do a whole episode on this, like internal boundaries is really where it starts. And as always, if you would like support kind of installing any of these frameworks into your life, I would love to guide you on that. And boundaries that hold, words that stay clean, power that stays in your body, then send me an email. And I would love to connect with you on that, because it is such, powerful work when we dive into the ethers of our underworld and figure out what is our, understanding. I have a new freebie for you. It is 26 prompts to use with ChatGPT for personal growth. I will drop the link in the show notes below. And as always, I want to remind you that contributions are voluntary and designed to support project-related expenses and operations. No portion of contributions is intended to constitute personal income to the creator. That is the disclaimer for this show and all of these episodes. I would love to hear your takeaways from this episode, what you enjoyed, what you will be implementing into 2026, and as well as this week. And remember, please leave a 5-star review. Again, really means the world to me as a way that you can support this show and my mission and vision. And it takes not even a second to do so. If you're watching this on YouTube, thank you so much. Please hit subscribe, and I will see you next week. Have a beautiful day.